Imagine the weight of an entire nation resting on your shoulders. You score a magical goal to put your country ahead in the FIFA World Cup. The crowd is screaming your name. You are the ultimate hero. But then, in a split second of absolute madness, everything falls apart. You are sent off. You leave your team to fight a relentless enemy with one man down for almost 30 minutes. Would your teammates survive the brutal onslaught? Or would your single mistake destroy the World Cup dream for millions of fans? Welcome back to Total Football Nexus. Today, we are breaking down a match that had everyone holding their breath. This is the story of how the United States pulled off an absolute masterclass of survival against Bosnia and Herzegovina in the round of 32. The stage was perfectly set. The San Francisco Bay Area Stadium was a massive ocean of colors, echoing with the deafening roar of expectant fans from all over the globe. This was not just another regular game. This was knockout football. Win, and you move to the final 16. Lose, and you pack your bags and go home in tears. The tension in the air was thick enough to cut with a knife. Referee Raphael Klaus blew the whistle, and the tactical chess match immediately began. From the very first minute, you could clearly see that both teams were playing not just with their feet, but with their minds. Bosnia came out trying to control the tempo, trying to silence the loud American home crowd. But the USA had a completely different game plan. They were waiting, watching, like a silent predator waiting for the absolute perfect moment to strike. For 44 grueling minutes, the battle raged on in the middle of the park. Both teams tried desperately to find a tiny crack in the opponent's armor. It looked like we were heading into halftime with a boring, scoreless draw. But football is a game of moments. And in the 45th minute, just before the referee was about to blow his whistle for the much-needed break, the stadium erupted into pure chaos. Folarin Balogun found a tiny pocket of space. The ball arrived perfectly at his feet, and with absolute ice in his veins, he delivered a strike of pure perfection, 1-0. The United States drew first blood right at the death of the first half. It was a brutal psychological dagger to the heart of the Bosnian players as they walked slowly into the tunnel with their heads down. But what exactly happened inside the Bosnian locker room during those 15 minutes of halftime? Whatever their manager said, it sparked a wild and desperate reaction. They knew their World Cup lives were slipping away by the second. They needed fresh legs, fresh ideas, and a totally new, aggressive approach. So, in the 51st minute, they made a massive, bold move. 3 substitutions at once. A triple threat to completely turn the tide of the match. Armin Gigovic was pulled off, and Esmir Bayaktarovic was thrown into the fire. Ivan Sunic made way for Benjamin Tahirovic, and in a shocking twist that left many football fans completely speechless, their legendary star striker Edin Dzeko was taken off the pitch. Ermin Mahmik was brought on to replace him. Taking off your biggest star and most experienced player when you were losing a knockout match, it was a massive, heart-stopping gamble. Would this high-risk strategy break the solid American defense? The tactical shift was incredibly clear. Bosnia wanted the ball, and they got it. The momentum of the match was slowly shifting. You could feel the dark anxiety creeping into the stands. The United States was suddenly pushed onto the back foot, trying desperately to weather a storm that was growing stronger by the minute. But just as the Americans were trying to regain control of the game and calm things down, a disaster of epic proportions struck from out of nowhere. The hero of the first half was about to make a decision that would change the entire landscape of the match in a heartbeat. What exactly did Folarin Balogun do to jeopardize everything his team had worked so hard for? How do you survive when the odds are suddenly stacked against you in the most brutal way possible?
The stadium clock hit the 64th minute. The tension on the pitch was already at a boiling point. And then the completely unthinkable happened. Folarin Balogun, the very man who had given the United States their precious lead just minutes ago, was shown a straight red card. The stadium fell completely silent for a horrifying second, followed by a collective gasp of pure panic. The hero had instantly become the ultimate liability. He was forced to take that long, lonely, heartbreaking walk down the tunnel, leaving his 10 teammates behind to face a fully energized and furious Bosnian side. There was still more than half an hour left to play on the clock, 30 minutes of absolute physical agony, 30 minutes of defending for their lives in the biggest football tournament in the world. This was the exact moment Bosnia had been praying for. The numerical advantage completely shifted the entire dynamics of the game. Bosnia pushed their defensive line higher, pressing harder, desperate to find that golden equalizer. They ended the match absolutely dominating the ball possession with 52%. They constantly attacked and outshot the United States, taking 10 total shots compared to the Americans' 8. If you just looked at those two specific stats on a piece of paper, you would honestly think Bosnia was heavily knocking on the door. You would think an equalizing goal was totally inevitable. But here is where the story gets truly fascinating. This is where the absolute tactical genius of the United States defensive system truly shined brightest. Despite having all that ball possession and taking more shots, Bosnia was completely suffocated and destroyed in the final third. They were trapped in a dangerous illusion of dominance. Do you want to know the most mind-blowing and shocking stat of the entire match? Throughout the whole 90 minutes, Bosnia managed a pathetic and miserable 7 touches inside the opposition box. Just 7. Compare that directly to the USA, who had a staggering 24 touches in the Bosnian penalty area. Let those numbers sink in for a second. The Americans were playing with 10 men for a huge portion of the game, yet their defensive wall was practically impenetrable. Their expected goals stood at 0.92, while Bosnia managed a laughable 0.25. The USA forced Bosnia to take low-percentage, desperate shots from far away, while every American counterattack felt incredibly lethal. The legendary Edin Dzeko had a completely invisible performance before being subbed off, entirely neutralized and erased by a fiercely disciplined American backline. As the clock violently ticked past the 75th minute, Bosnia threw their final desperate roll of the dice. Sead Kolasinac, completely running out of steam, was replaced by Haris Tabakovic. It was an all-out, chaotic attack. The Americans were visibly exhausted. Their lungs were burning. Their legs felt like heavy lead. They were just trying to hold on to that fragile, tiny one-goal lead. But instead of just parking the bus and praying for the final whistle to save them, the USA did something incredibly brave and unexpected. They pushed forward. In the 82nd minute, against all odds and entirely against the run of play, the United States won a crucial free kick in a very dangerous area. The Bosnian defenders looked visibly nervous and panicked. They knew this could be the final nail in their coffin. Malik Tillman stepped up to the ball. The entire stadium held its breath. The defensive wall was set. The referee's whistle blew. Tillman struck the ball with absolute venom and terrifying pinpoint precision. It sailed beautifully through the air, completely bypassing the desperate dive of the goalkeeper and smashed right into the back of the net. 2-0. The stadium absolutely erupted into uncontrollable madness and joy. The 10 men of the United States had not just survived the storm, they had completely conquered it. Tillman's magical free kick completely shattered any remaining Bosnian hopes and guaranteed the American ticket to the round of 16. It was a match of immense psychological warfare. The USA proved once and for all that you do not need the majority of the ball to win a high-stakes football match. You need a killer instinct. You need to be totally ruthless when you touch the ball in the enemy box. And most importantly, you need the ultimate mental strength to survive when the entire world expects you to crumble. But this tactical shift, this
This specific style of winning big games with less possession is becoming a massive trend in modern football. Is possession football finally dead? What is the secret behind these lethal counterattacking teams dominating the sport? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments section. If you enjoyed this thrilling breakdown, please hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and make sure to subscribe to Total Football Nexus so you never miss out on the greatest stories on the pitch.